Here are the horoscopes for the week of the 3rd to the 9th of July 2017. We're heading up to the full moon in Capricorn, which will be growing throughout the week, but before we get there we've got a couple of other aspects to talk about. So this weekend we have Mars opposition Pluto, and this is calling us into our depths, really, to face our fears and to look at where our anger or our frustration is coming from, to look at where we're triggered and to take that deeply within, to release it once and for all. So Mars opposition Pluto, we are often working from a place of fear, fears that we haven't faced, fears that we're repressing, and this could be socially, politically or personally. I feel this week is going to be a bit more of a political one, and there's many fears with all of the news that goes on, and we can't really face it, so we turn away from it or we find a sanctuary somewhere. But it's necessary to actually look at what's going on, to determine what's true and what's not, what's hype, what's fake, and what's just being conjured to keep us in a state of fear. Because knowing this, we can actually rise above, we can actually clear the fear and raise to higher thought frequencies. So this weekend we're the spiritual gardeners of our minds, to go in and look at the weeds, not to ignore them, but to pull them up at the roots and to decide for ourselves that we're not going to be kept in a state of artificial fear. By Monday the Sun and Neptune are in harmony, and this is a much more evocative call to look into our soul desires, to listen to ourselves, to stop and to tune in, to appreciate the simple daily beauties and reflect upon the miracles unfolding in our lives. Because I feel that if we pay too much attention to the outside, it seems like our lives are being orchestrated for us, or that we're helpless in some way. But when we stop and look at the simplicity, the reality of the day-to-day, then we can see that everything is unfolding, and everything is unfolding from a place deep within ourselves, from our beliefs, from our actions and from our thoughts. So to go in and to dig out anything that's limiting or fearful or being repressed is a very soulful journey. But by Tuesday we have the Sun and Jupiter at odds. So this is a very interesting one as well. We can have a look at where we feel expanded or contracted. Breathe in, breathe out, the ebb and the flow. Instead of trying to push forwards, there are times when we're blocked ahead in order that we go back and make the inner alterations. And Jupiter has been stationary, slowly moving forwards for a couple of weeks now, but this is actually going to go into full forward motion. So before we step forwards, we need to make sure that we're aligned to our best destination and to our highest goals. So on Tuesday, maybe take some time out and look at whatever makes you feel contracted, whatever makes you feel restricted. Are those restrictions real, or are they actually necessary messages from you to say, well, actually that path isn't right? So don't willfully try and push towards something, but go and check what really is right for you. By Wednesday, Venus moves into Gemini, and this is normally a very sociable, quick and chatty and funny combination. But I feel that because we're coming up to the full moon in Capricorn, this is an opportunity to have a look at where we're being too superficial, where our thoughts and our communications are just skimming, especially with so much social media distraction, and whether we're actually still able to think deeply, to converse with meaning and maturity, and to be masterful of our thoughts and our words. So an interesting combination there with the Gemini, not really seeing eye to eye with the Capricorn, but a call to see where we can actually step into our dignity and maturity. By Thursday we have Mercury moving into Leo. So this is a very brave and bold aspect, and we may want to just speak out, but make sure that what we're speaking out about is true, and avoid hasty opinions which may be challenged, and pride could be hurt if they're proven wrong, because I feel that whatever we say this week will need to be true, it will need to be backed up with fact, and it will need to be thought through, rather than just saying things in the stream of consciousness with this Venus in Gemini. So we can speak out, we can be brave, we can be courageous, but we need to be coming from a place of truth rather than just speaking the beliefs, the opinions that we've picked up along the way that might not actually be correct in the first place. And with all of these aspects, it's a time to slow down, to listen to ourselves, and to come from a deeper place. So very good schooling this week to get back to our depths, rather than to be caught up in either the fear that's been peddled or superficial beliefs, immature ways of communicating and skimming and avoiding and distracting. So by Friday the moon moves into Capricorn, growing to fullness by Sunday at 5:08 a.m. UK time, 17 degrees Capricorn, so at the middle degree there. In this chart we have the Sun and Mars in Cancer opposite the Moon and Pluto in Capricorn. So we've still got that Mars-Pluto opposition hanging in from the beginning of the week, now joined by the Sun and the Moon. So Cancer-Capricorn can be a duality that's played out politically, struggle between government and community. It can be in the family, the mother and the father, or it can be inside of us, calling us in to balance body and soul. We have Saturn at 22 degrees Sagittarius, retrograde as well, so I feel that this one is calling us to have a look at if we've become too concerned with creating structure, thinking and doing, striving and trying, then it's time to let go a little bit and look at the motivation behind our actions and the dreams behind our goals. But alternatively, if you felt that you've been lacking structure and direction, then this moon can be used to realise what you stand on and for, and to create some internal integrity that you can build upon slowly and create firm foundations. So this one can go either way depending on where you've been, but it's definitely about turning inwards first and reconnecting with the core truth and taking a moment to reflect on everything that you've already achieved and that you've already received and are in the process of receiving before reaching out to grab for more. So quite a serious week. We'll be called into our integrity and we'll be walking with our dignity, slowing down, listening and developing a more mature view, observing our immaturity, our limiting thoughts, our quickly formed opinions and our desire to just speak for the sake of speaking, and then getting into a state of greater grace where when we speak, we're speaking of something meaningful and wise. So those are the horoscopes for this week, and I'll see you next week. If you'd like to look into your chart, I am available one-to-one or over Skype, so you can see where this is all unfolding for you. And especially important this week is where you can journey with this Jupiter as it starts to go direct, because the way has been cleared and we can actually start to look into the coming months now. So very interesting to look at where Jupiter is in your chart and where you can harness your realigned energies for a clear road ahead. I also have online courses for tarot, astrology and other esoteric subjects if you'd like to study this on your own, or you can come and join the online group where we're having weekly discussions as they come up. And my events are all written up on my website www.astrozo.com. So for any of that, please do contact me, zoehind7@gmail.com.